those barn doors were also ripped open.
Oh, goodness. Yes.
The Nazis came, "You to her house! Jews, come out!" We stopped breathing. We were buried ourselves in that straw. No breathing. They looked and looked. Eventually, they left. We went back to our town. I remember trying to get into our room, you know, and I said to my sister Rosa, what is that pile over there? She said, go to sleep. Okay, went to sleep. Got up the next morning, went out to see what that pile was. That pile was a pile of dead people, our neighbors. All that shooting was going on. And the worst part was this. You know, those of us who are living, it's natural to go over to see who's dead, and it's terrible. And suddenly, I saw the movement of a little child. We all saw a movement of a little child. And they pulled the child out. I see it now. And the child had blood. Was still living. Apparently, the mother must have fallen on top of the child to keep it protected. I don't know what happened to the child. All I know is what I saw that moment. It's something you cannot erase. I would like to erase it. It'll never be erased.
It's unimaginable.
Unimaginable.
For a child, you were about 7 at that point.
Maybe at that point, yeah, close to 7, right.
And Sarah was 8.5, perhaps.
Yes.
To have to witness that.
Oh.
To have a memory like that.
Oh.
It's
unbelievable.
Cruelty is unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
So in a way you ran home because home was still a safe place, in a way, because everything was just so.
Oh, at that point, that was right next to the house. This is small little homes, and they were piled up.
There was safety nowhere. There was nowhere that you could find.
No, there were. By that time, there was a handful of Jews left. This was already the second evacuation, Auszüchtung, they call it in German. Second, so there were very few Jews left, none.
And I'm seeing this through the mind of a child.
Yes.
You know, that what had been safe was no longer safe, but nowhere was safe.
It wasn't safe before.
So what happened then?
My sister Rosa divided Sarah and me with 2 separate people to have a bigger chance to survive. Sarah went with a Polish couple. I understand that the husband was an alcoholic and he was threatening to report her all the time. But somehow Sarah ended up in the concentration camp where Rosa worked. That was a good place to be.
Yes.
Because, and by the way, I'll tell you how I ended up there. I ended up there too. Why was it good? Where else are you going to go? You go in the woods, they'll find you with this German shepherds, and the people would tell you and get a reward. You'd be dead. Or the next thing is you go in a cattle car to Auschwitz or to one of those places. So working there was not bad. Now, what happened to me is Rosa gave me to somebody else to take care of. And I remember spending a few days in a potato cellar, I guess where they kept potatoes.
All alone?
No, I was with people then. But it was dark and wet, no place to sleep, smelly in the puddles. And at the top had sort of a little opening. It was like a little window. And I was scared. All the people there were scared. Didn't know where to go, what to do. And children were playing above there. They were Polish children. And we were scared they were going to report us. Eventually, someone, my sister arranged for someone to take me from there and lead me into the concentration camp. Sarah was waiting by some wires, and I still remember as I'm going through, she's holding the wires, and I was in and hiding in that concentration camp. The people there were at work.
Yes.
In the morning, they'd all line up and they'd go work on the fields. At night, they'd come back. And they were all working, so I was in there. They had barracks for women, for men, and I was hiding there the whole time. There were several other children, too. I remember being very happy because I heard dogs barking. I had to go by areas where probably the dogs were. I can't give you everything.
Yes.
Everything is happening
Yes.
all over the place. It's very frightening. All I know is I was there. I was there with my sister Sarah. And at the end of the day, probably Rosa came in and she found her two siblings, and then we became one. And she is the one, Rosa, had to share her food with us. Food, what kind of food? I remember there was a line always, and they were getting soup. What was the soup? It was like water with a little horse meat in it. And you were lucky to get a piece. And that was their soup, and the bread was made out of, a lot of it was made out of sawdust. See, the whole idea was for them to kill, to get them weak. Every week or every 2 weeks, they came to that concentration camp, and they would say to the leader, give me 200, or 300, or 400. Put them in Cadillacs, kill them, bring in new ones. That was the system.
And that's where you hid.
That's where I hid. By the way, a lot of times Jews would try to run away, and they were caught. Guess what they did? They would hang the Jews between the latrines and the barracks. And you could see them hanging. I'm a little boy. I've got to go to the bathroom
So
in the middle of the night. Body is swinging, moon is full. Go ahead, go on to the bathroom.
how could you?
I didn't.
You couldn't have.
I wet the bed. And it was terrible. Because at first, I was being just a little boy. I could sleep with my sister Rosa. In the women's barracks, they were a little better than the men's barracks. She had a thing up, you know, got levels, 1, 2, 3. She had a top. And I was just next to her, you know, skinny little kid. And then I developed this problem. I didn't go out, climb down and go, so I started wetting my bed.
And the humiliation for a little boy.
It went down to the people below when they started commotions. The lights would go on. Eventually, I was removed from there and put into the men's barrack. There I slept next to, when I say slept, it's not a bed, it's made out of straw and covered with burlap. That's what it is. You lay there, and it's hot and it's stuffy, and I continue to make the bed there, but there's nobody below. So you know what happens? The straw starts to rot. The burlap on the other side, you turn it over, I was hoping it would be dry. It was green and wet, everything. And I tried to lay on top of that to try to dry it up. I'm a little, I don't know. So I got all infected on the side. It was terrible. Most terrible.
And there were fleas, there was lice.
Oh, the lice and the fleas. I get up in the morning and little dots all over from the fleas. The lice were in my hair, long curly hair, and I killed them all with my thumb. Oh, it's not even, it's terrible. And sometimes the lice would get into your ear, and you'd have to go like this, you know. It's unbelievable.
Sam, there was another concentration camp. Why were you moved? What happened?
What happened to us is, now here we have all these Jews. There's a town called Częstochowa. There they're making bullets for the war. We need more slave laborers.